all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee. I kind of.
This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah.
On this vote, the yeas are 312, the nays are 112. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
How you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Well, negotiations, right? Politics.
And we're out of time. So you.
Money, honey, money, honey. Ow!
Hey, y'all, Gravity, any day above ground livid. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your Thursday. Oh, you know, Congress was having much fun yesterday, putting that out there. They approved new defense budget for fiscal year 2026. Record amount, by the way, $901 billion. With a lot of provisions that are good and they are bad. We're going to go over them. We're going to have fun. And then we're gonna go check in to see how folk over there are liking it. But anyway, before we do all that, let's see who's in the building. Wild J, hello. Brooklyn Queen, hello. Gamers Den, hello. Riggy Ross T, hello. DSA 1, hello. Anthony Ruger Phillips, hello. Zavon Scott, hello. Lehman Lucas, hello. Reparations Nation, hello. Emperor Rex, hello. GDS, hello. Sybil, hello. For those who haven't said anything in the live chat or the comments, hello. AG Galaxy, hello. All right, we're going to be looking at videos and articles, so we got to do the customary house cleaning.
Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now go to start the teaching.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
All right, so we're going to start here. This is Tim Burchett, you know, one of them MAGA idiots. But let's see what he said about the bill and if he like it or he don't like it.
Just leaving the House floor. Big vote tonight was the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, and it was $900.6 billion. There's money in there for, of course, Ukraine, $800 million total.
What the hell?
Robert, stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing.
Okay, say that again.
$900.6 billion. There's money in there for, of course, Ukraine.
You said what?
$800 million.
Money for Ukraine. I was told, along with other Americans, and this is no Mandela effect, that war was supposed to end the second day. Huh. That's interesting.
In total, and some other things. Money in there for recognizing an Indian tribe out of North Carolina has.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
Recognizing an Indian tribe in North Carolina. I didn't know an Indian tribe in North Carolina warranted our tax dollars to go for their security. Interesting. Keep going.
Nothing to do with national defense. Syria, money.
Syria, BRICS. Continue, sir.
Iraq.
I didn't even know Iraq was still a thing. Continue, sir.
Look, we just got to quit this stuff. America's got to start paying attention. And the Ukraine.
Well, that's why they elected you, sir, and the other 434 idiots in there. You're supposed to be the ones to see this stuff and convey it to the people, but you guys are more concerned about enriching yourselves. You should be out there. Yeah, I tell y'all, they need to be out there doing something. They need to be out there rapping.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap. When you can't nobody else come up here if they not rapping like that. Stay your punk ass at home.
And the reason why I played that, because Tim Burchett be one of the main ones always bitching about something that the left is doing. Also, you got all them lyrics for the left. But when it comes time when money's being spent and the American people need to know where their money's being spent, now you want to act like a half a bitch and not say nothing until after it's voted on. so you could come outside and look like the baby face. You can kiss my ass. I hope you get voted out next year.
Ukraine stuff's not even, didn't even ask for that. You've got the war pimps that push for this stuff, and they always will tell you, oh, it's.
So basically, you're telling us Trump ain't running the country. Good to know. Continue.
The Burchett, man, they're going to spend all that money here buying those missiles. You know, is that what we are basing our votes on? Is they're going to buy implements to kill other people on? I mean, I'm all for getting rid of our enemies, but this is just too much.
Oh, now it's too much. Oh, now it's too much.
You having an unnatural allegiance to losers.
By the way, I didn't do that. Those 2 red marks, I didn't do that. I just have an uncanny ability to stop a video right where it is. By the way, screenshot.
Way too much. And things are just not what they appear. We need to wake up. I voted no. Over 100 Democrats voted to pass this.
Wow. The liberals? This is Tim Burchett. But hey, the liberals, the Democrats voted for this? Interesting. I hope y'all are listening.
That ought to tell you right there what this is about. Got some liberal stuff tucked in there, and it's over 3,000 pages. We get it on Sunday, and we're voting on it today.
Oh, 3,000 page bills, and you only have 2 or 3 days to go through it. Interesting.
There's no way we will ever know what was in there. And it's just, anyway.
Because y'all were too lazy to look through it. Why don't y'all use AI? Huh? I'm just asking for friends. Y'all have AI stock and y'all love AI, but you can't use AI to comb through that bill so you can get an outline of what's in it.
Frustrated. We'll keep fighting. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Okay. So that was Tim Burchett. Here go B6. Last night, I voted no on final passage of the NDAA. I support our great military, but I will not vote to send American hard-earned tax dollars towards foreign aid and foreign wars. Well, I wonder, B6. I wonder. What was your vote on Trump sending money over to the Middle East? I wonder what that vote was. I'm sure that's when you were still cool with it. I'm sure you voted for that. Okay. President Trump says it's perfectly a patchwork of 50 different states. I don't care about that. Conservatives were promised explicitly that strong anti-central bank digital currency CBDC language would be included in the NDAA. That promise was broken. A CBDC is the ultimate tool for government surveillance and control over every American's finances. It would hand the federal government unprecedented power to track, restrict, and even freeze transactions. Leaving out protections for the financial privacy of Americans is unacceptable. Due to this, I voted no on the NDAA. We must demand better and fight on the next must-pass bill to ensure a CBDC never sees the light of day. Financial freedom isn't negotiable. And then you had the alleged Fed, Nick Fuentes, keep reminding everyone that he's debanked. But he's also subsequently making it seem like, okay, even though I'm debanked, I still have influence. So it's not that bad. Okay. Why are we paying the interest on defense contractors' loans in the NDAA? That's nasty work.
What the hell?
Here's a link to yesterday's roll call vote for the deeply flawed NDAA, which contained foreign military aid to numerous countries. Why do we pay to defend socialist countries abroad? I was among the 18 conservatives who voted no. Well, let's look. Let's see who's on this, so you guys can have a picture of who y'all should vote out next year.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
Okay, so this is to require the Secretary of Veteran Affairs to disinter the remains of Fernando V. Cota from Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery, Texas, and for other purposes. I don't even know why they put this in here, but okay. I think he sent the wrong list. Now, this is the bill. I wonder why he sent this, but he might have put the wrong link. And look like none of them clicked that link that I'm seeing on X. It's not me, right? So this is the vote for the bill, but why is this here? Interesting. But let's see. There's Clyburn. Democrats are in italic. There's Clyburn. There's Loudermilk. Ocasio-Cortez said no. Al Green said no. They go Lauren Boebert said no. By the way, she in some shit right now with Kid Rock, but you know. There's Yvette Clark. There's Jasmine Crockett. I think that might be Mike Lee. There's Massey. There's McGovern. There's Richie Torres. That punk. There's Presley. There's Ilhan. Where Rashida at? There Rashida, because you know she can't. They go, look, Hakeem Jeffries said yes. The House Minority Leader said yes. Ho. Well, New York, you should know that Hakeem Jeffries is a warmonger. This should be fun. Ro Khanna said no. Interesting. Okay. We don't care. Massey frames it as defending socialism when the actual choice is support allies now or pay 100 times more when authoritarian states start taking territory. Well, they already did it. Now what? They did it already. What are you going to do now? Nothing. Same reason the retort known as Senator Warren decided to remove the CBDC ban and try to sneak it in for only being banned for 5 years. They're all corrupt cucks. But you voted for them. See how that works? Very vague bill title. Y'all know y'all getting screwed, but you won't do nothing about it. Okay. Ooh, what's this?
That has something to do,
Ron
they say,
Paul.
with national defense.
Yeah.
I say that's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
It has to do with expanding our military empire, and it has very little to do with national defense, except for the fact that it makes us in worse shape. Instead of providing defense, I think we're more vulnerable because of the intervention and our determination that we have a moral responsibility around the world.
This, of course, is from our friend Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. Congress prepares to pass NDAA. Now, those four letters, Dr. Paul, you kind of made famous, if you remember, back in 2011 when they slipped into that NDAA, the detention without warrant and a few other things, and it became notorious. So when people see that NDAA, they should run because they know that it's going to be coming after them. But this one is going to be another $1 trillion. It's $900 billion. You got to add in that $156 billion payday loan that they put in. And also Congress, because, you know, Dr. Paul, Congress, they don't want to be felt to be stingy. So they put in an additional, I think, $9 billion or $8 billion over the president's request. So Well, we can be critical in a way for Trump because he's expressed his attachment to a big, massive military spending bill. You can't blame him completely because it's Congress that goes and says, oh, well, you're a little bit under that trillion. Let us bump it up for you a little bit because we got to spend that money. So that's what we're facing next year. We're broke and we're going to spend another $1 trillion. That you would mention that. But the one thing, the way they get this money is they invent threats, and
Ooh, like them taking an oil tanker off Venezuela, right? They're gonna put a key of cocaine on there and say they were drug trafficking.
We know that all the years we were there, they invent new threats. Now we have the threat of narco-terrorism. Narco-terrorists are going to come take over the country.
Blame the focus group.
And so if you don't support spending $1 trillion to go after narco-terrorists, well, you're not patriotic. You must love Biden or what have you. And I mentioned to you this before the show, and people, if you go on X, you can find this clip. I actually reposted it from my account. But Jon Stewart, if you know, very clever guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in our minds, he's famous for that great clip he did about how you were ignored even as you rose the ranks in the 11 campaign. He has a great clip. It's a 7-minute clip about making the comparison between the lies they said in the run-up to the Iraq War and the lies they're putting out in the run-up to the Venezuela war. And literally, it's the same language. And he does it in his own way, which is very funny. We can be critical and angry, and we probably are not as effective as a comedian is when it comes to this. But I highly recommend that. But the fact is, they create threats, and they propagandize people about threats. And so if you say, well, why can't we cut the spending bill in half? Then they would say, well, what do you want? Do you want Maduro to take over America? So it's a problem that we have all the time with trying to argue for a reduction in military spending, which, as we know, benefits the military-industrial complex more than it benefits the average American trying to survive in this inflationary spiral that we're in.
The only good thing out of this military spending is Brother Mo.J finna get paid a little bit more. They're giving the military a 4% increase. It's the only good thing coming out of this. So
Congress prepares to
800,000 million. That's what she wrote. Yes, this is what y'all voted for. Here we go. Based, Marco Rubio did what Senate Republicans didn't have the spine to do. He is stopping Taliban funding. The $40 million a week the Senate refused to put language into NDAA to stop. Secretary of State is going to stop. Okay. And you're a shell. Anyway, I was happy to support the House-passed conservative NDAA earlier this year, but what returned it was a bill that Dem leaders were more than happy about. The American people elected Republicans to govern boldly and put America first. No, they didn't. Well, okay. Not to water down legislation and go to Democrats for their support. This is why I voted no on the NDAA. As a veteran, I will not support a bill shaped to satisfy the left instead of advancing our priorities. And it is telling that 150 Democrats voted for it. Under Republican rule in the U.S. defense bill, we are sending billions overseas. $800 million to Ukraine's endless war, $130 to Syria, $1 billion to Taiwan. That's the payoff to sell them out to China, by the way. $15 million to Lebanon. So Beirut finna get $15 million. Okay. That money should be going to our troops and the American people. This bill even keeps DEI policies in our intel community after we voted to remove them in committee. We're elected to put America first. It's time we act like it. Hey, sir, this is what you were put in Congress for. You're a fall guy. You're the new rhino. But you probably want to see it. $1 billion for Taiwan to make drones. Direct loans available for the Philippines. So now he's trying to go into Asian. He's trying to go into that Far East movement. Okay. Another $1 billion. The Baltic states, 175. Oh boy. And we're paying for that. But all right. Let's see what let's see what else they put in this bill and have some fun.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
So we're going to Al Jazeera. So it says, despite opposition, U.S. House passes record $901 billion defense spending bill. The bill faced notable opposition from lawmakers concerned about the Trump administration's management of the U.S. military. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a far-reaching defense policy bill authorizing a record $901 billion in annual military spending. The tally in Wednesday's vote saw 312 lawmakers in favor of passing the NDAA, with 112 opposing the bill. It has now been sent to the Senate for consideration and expected to pass next week. The $901 billion in defense spending for the 2026 fiscal year is $8 billion more than the U.S. President Donald Trump requested in May this year. The sweeping 3,086-page bill, which was unveiled on Sunday, includes typical NDAA provisions on defense acquisition to compete militarily with rivals such as China and Russia. It also includes measures to improve living conditions for American troops, including an almost 4% pay rise and improvements in military base housing. Lawmakers also forced the inclusion of several provisions cementing Washington's commitment to Europe's defense in the face of Russian aggression, including $400 million in military assistance to Ukraine in each of the next 2 years to help repel Russia's invasion.
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
Another measure requires the Pentagon to keep at least 76,000 troops and major equipment stationed in Europe unless NATO allies are consulted. This year's bill, however, also cut several programs reviled by Trump, including about $1.6 billion in funding to initiatives focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as climate change. The legislation will now head to the Senate, with leaders aiming to pass the bill before lawmakers depart for a holiday break. Trump will then sign it into law once it reaches the White House. The NDAA is one of the few major pieces of legislation that typically enjoy broad bipartisan support, having made it through Congress every year since its enactment in 1961. This year's process was rockier than usual, coming at a time of growing friction between the Republican-controlled Congress and the Trump administration over the management of the U.S. military. Before the vote, and this is very important to remember, going into the midterms. Before the vote, members of both parties urged their lawmakers to support the vital defense legislation, even if they objected to individual provisions contained within it. Al Jazeera's correspondent in Washington, D.C., Mike Hanna, said that while there was some significant dissent, the bill still passed very easily indeed. Also tucked away into the NDAA are several measures pushing back against the Department of Defense, notably a demand for more transparency on deadly attacks carried out by the U.S. military on alleged drug smuggling vessels in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean in recent months. Hanna said a very noticeable part of the bill threatens to take away 25% of U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's travel funding unless he discloses more information on the U.S. attacks on vessels in the Caribbean Sea and Pacific Ocean, including allowing lawmakers to review unedited video of the strikes and the orders given to carry out the attack. They fucking up his expense report. That's crazy. Isn't that something? All right. This is a very strong move by the House, forcing, it would appear, the defense secretary to provide full detail of these attacks, Hanna said. Hardline conservative lawmakers had expressed frustration that the NDAA did not do more to cut U.S. commitments overseas, including Europe. Did you think he was going to do that? I think they did. But I like how they're not talking about the AI component of this. They're just leaving that out. Marjorie Taylor Greene really did some. She really screwed them. Oh, you don't believe me? I figured you didn't. Well, something came out about 9 days ago that I think you guys should be aware of, because they tried to sneak it in, this bill.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
So via the Hill, Scalise said GOP leaders looking at other places for AI preemption as NDAA push stalls. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said Tuesday that Republican leaders are looking at other places to include a measure that would block state AI laws after running into difficulties adding a provision to an annual defense bill. The push to include AI preemption in the National Defense Authorization Act, an effort backed by President Trump, has split Republican lawmakers in recent weeks amid final negotiations over the legislation. We need to find a place to do it, Scalise told reporters. It is an important bill, but it's a bill that you have to build a separate coalition on. And if you can add it, that's great, but that wasn't the best place for this to fit. But we're still looking at other places because there's still an interest, he continued. You know, you've seen the president talk about it. GOP lawmakers previously sought to include a 10-year moratorium on state AI laws in Trump's tax and spending bill earlier this year, but the provision was stripped out amid resistance from fellow Republicans. House Republican leaders renewed the push in late November, eyeing NDAA as a potential vehicle for the preemption provision. They once again faced pushback from members of their own party, including Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Trump jumped into the debate and urged Congress to pass a ban on state AI laws as part of the NDAA or as a separate bill. He also appeared to be considering an executive order to target state AI measures, but lawmakers reportedly urged the president to hold off as they continued efforts to include it in the must-pass defense bill. The White House and his allies have argued that preemption is necessary in order to avoid a patchwork of state laws that could weigh on innovation as the U.S. competes with China for dominance over the technology. Boy, they really try to push this AI on us. I think Trump is turning into a warmonger on the law. He gonna do a heel turn on MAGA. He's gonna start a war. And he's gonna say, "Listen, if you don't want us to get attacked, you better get on board." Look who outside talking. Look at this.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
Look at this fool.
So Joe Allen, they keep talking about they're going to have one rule book. Have you heard anything about in the executive order, anything that they're actually going to put a set of rules in here to incorporate the 4 C's, community, creators, conservatives, and children? I haven't heard anything that. In fact, they kind of rejected Mike Davis's attempt. First cut at this was 100 pages long. I haven't heard of any kind of regulatory apparatus or anything that they're talking about. What they want, and they've got it right now, because every day that you don't step in there is like 10 years for them just to go on with what they're producing, with what they're developing, of which we have no earthly idea. And the government's going to have essentially significant guarantees in here. And plus, you're going to have to get, guidance to build the data centers, to take the water, to provide the energy. They're going to have nuclear power plants all over. And hey, these nuclear power plants may be the key to the future for cheap energy, but you're going to have them anyway. There's so many complicated things here that have to be sorted. And Sachs and these guys, all they want to do in the dark of night, is to try to slip into a must-pass NDAA AI amnesty. So I
don't know what the hell he said, but Steve, you were on
Joe
the inner
Allen,
sanctum. You know they like to sneak things in there. You probably had Trump sneak things in there. So they took a poll and said, The people they talk to, 43% of Trump supporters oppose AI preemption in the NDAA. Isn't that nice? Family in trouble. But there's ways out of it. But we know most folk won't listen. So we will do our part to make sure that they don't go rogue. And it'll go back to the white vote will doom us all. But I just wanted to bring that to you really quickly. I know it's not exactly a sexy topic, but we got to know that this government ain't for us. I mean, they're sending $800 million to Ukraine when you could use that to fix the supply chain. But, they don't care. But anyway, hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. I will be back later where we're going to talk about the Netflix and Warner Brothers deal. And I'm going to explain it and give my opinion from a person who does screenwriting. And if this is a good thing or not a good thing. And you may even get a bonus video later today. And I think you might like the topic that we're going to broach. But if anything, you'll definitely see it tomorrow. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Be productive. Stay safe. And you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.
Time's up.
Get your ass up. We gotta get out of here now.
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
Gotta get your groove on.
At the end of the day gotta end.
That's it.